All right. So this is I think I missed a day. I think it's February 2nd. But anyways, we it's Monday. What day is it? Monday the 2nd. So we ended up going to church yesterday, and we yeah, well, yesterday was just kind of like just I didn't really know what was gonna happen, and yeah, I'm just trying to unpack what happened yesterday. So yesterday we went to church, and we were coming from Helen, Georgia. So we left the hotel around maybe like 9:30 or so, and then we walked maybe about like a mile towards church. And basically we hitchhiked with somebody, and they were really nice people. I forget what their names were, but a lot of times just tell people what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to get to church, blah blah blah. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going that way anyway. They were going into Cleveland, Georgia, and what do you call it? So about 5 minutes into our conversation, because they heard that I was, on the Appalachian Trail for a month. The guy goes, "You ever see any Bigfoot out there?" And I'm like, no, I've never seen Bigfoot." Blah blah blah. And I look up and I start looking around the car and I see that he has a Bigfoot like car scent thing on his rear view mirror. And I'm just like, oh, here we go. We got the Bigfoot. Bigfoot is real, right? So it's like this older guy. He has like a handicap placard on his thing, and he's got his wife who's a little bit younger than her, or younger than him, and they got a real deep Southern drawl. Like, like really, really deep. We're in Georgia still, and still got that Southern drawl. And he goes, uh, "Well, we seen him though. We were in our tent, and we saw his silhouette, and he put his hand right on the outside of our tent." And then his wife goes, "Yeah, and I went to go put my hand up to touch his hand, and my husband snatched my arm down, and said, 'Don't touch him. That Bigfoot'll snatch you right out of this tent.'" And I'm sitting in the back, and I'm just like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Bigfoot's 100% real. The church is up on the right hand in a couple miles. Like, just get me to church." But you know what? I mean, look, they were nice enough to stop. They had a truck, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll give you a ride. We don't care. Whatever." And I think it was hilarious because as we're driving to the church, we literally passed like a Bigfoot museum, and I'm just like, ah, we're in Bigfoot country. You're in the mountains long enough, you start seeing stuff, and the imagination does wild things. That and drugs, but anyway. So my hitchhike to church was people that were all into Bigfoot, and they seen him. They know he's real, and they're talking about how he smells. He's got an interesting smell and all this stuff, and I'm just like, I love America, man. You got all types here. And so anyway, they drop us off at church. I was probably, I think mass was at 10 o'clock, and I end up getting there at I think like 10:30. So it's I'm pretty late, and I'm like, all right, they have a 12 o'clock, but right as I walk in, to anyone that knows the Catholic Church, we celebrate the Eucharist, and the priest is holding the Eucharist up, and I'm just like, right as I'm walking in, and the sun's gleaming right behind him, and I'm just like, all right, I'm here right at the perfect time. So I sit, put my pack off my back, leave it in the back or whatever, not in the church, but in like the conclave, or I forget what it's called, the foyer. And I walk in, and I just sit in the back, just put my head down, just thank God for getting me here. And you know I mean, my plan was I was just gonna see if I could stay a couple nights, with the priest, and then get a ride back. But anyway, that's what I was kind of thinking, because the trail is still kind of icy, and like the snow aspect was kind of crazy up on the mountains. So um, it was a little bit dangerous to be up there. Not gonna lie. I mean, I fell down, I slid down the mountain like 60 feet or something, and I had to like climb back up. And not injured, all about the spirit of adventure. But you just hit an ice sheet, and then you just start moving. And when the hill's like this, if you get going, it's like it's difficult to stop. But I was able to, I came down, and then I started walking, parallel, kind of back up towards the, where the trail was at, and we were fine. Got back on trail. But anyway, back to the church. So I'm just sitting in the back, and I'm like, church ends, and the father proceeds out, and I'm just sitting there waving at everyone. And this lady comes up to me, and it's like, oh, hi, how's it going, blah blah blah. And we just start talking. And I man, like, I just told her my situation. I'm like, oh, I'm on trail, we're just I'm looking for a place to stay for a couple nights, blah blah blah. I mean, I wasn't really asking her, hey, can I stay with you? I'm just kind of telling her, like, hey, this is what we're doing. I got the dog. And so anyway, she ends up, waving her husband over, and he's kind of looking at me like, what's my wife getting me into now? And but you know what? It like they end up bringing me to their like spare like they have like the spare place, like they call it the hangar, because he's a pilot, and this is where he has his airplane and everything. Um, and yeah, it's like, I mean, talk about God timing, because, I'm kind of like running late to church. I miss all the readings, and, I get there for the most important part, which is the Eucharist. And, you know, um, I'm really, really happy that I got that. And, yeah, and there, and the lady just, it just goes above and beyond anything that I expected. And she's like, oh, you can stay with us, like, blah, 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 for a couple nights. And it's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, and then it's like, all right, I had this plan of going to the priest and maybe staying at the church and all this stuff. And it just turns out to be even better than anything I could have anticipated. And, it's like, um, I'm so thankful that they were there. I mean, we just bumped into each other, talked, and like, yeah, this is what, I'm from Pennsylvania, and it's so funny because they lived in Reading, Pennsylvania, which is like in Philadelphia. And it's like they're big Pittsburgh Steelers fans. I'm a Steelers fan. We were talking about all the stuff, and they got a signed Hines Ward poster in this place. And yeah, so literally they put me up in their little bunkhouse here, and I got, Sadie's loving this Tempur-Pedic mattress. Isn't that right, my girl? Isn't that right? She's like, oh man, I'm sleeping so good, sleeping so good. So yeah, and it was just such a blessing, and a testament to I'll call it God's timing. God's timing is perfect. And I think, like, I mean, because I didn't really know what to do. Because I'm like, all right, I stayed at the hotel last night. I'm not trying to spend, all my money on hotels and stuff, and I still need to have food money, and I still need to, get around and all this stuff. And yeah, it's like it turned out even better than anything I could have ever put together. And I just so happened to bump into somebody at church, and I told him my situation. I think it's because I had the dog, because the dog is just she's just a big lover girl, and she was loving up on her, and you know she fell in love with the dog, and it's like, all right, we're putting you up, and she uh just took, she's like taking my bags and started, walking me to their car, like, and it was like, there was no hesitation. I just told her what was going on. you know the trail's a little bit treacherous because all the ice and stuff, and it's like, you didn't even think for 1 second. It's, all right, I'm helping you, like, bam. And it's like, it was kind of like a whirlwind. And I'm like, I was like, okay, hey, I guess this is where we're moving. This is what God wants us to do, and or wants me to be, I guess, and here I am. I'm in this, awesome spot. Like, I have Wi-Fi, I have heat, I have this really comfortable bed. I slept really well. Um, and yeah, it was, I think like the biggest thing that I found so far on this pilgrimage, because it really is, it is, um, when you're going into the unknown, and situations arise that you didn't plan for. Because again, I was just planning on resupplying for less than a day. Drive into town, get my stuff, and then drive out. And God will put you into these detours, and He's putting me into places that I'm supposed to be at, and it's like, you know, I um I never expected. Well, it's not even about expectation. I'm just kind of going with the flow, and I mean, I've only walked like 50 miles in, like, a month. It's like, okay, I stayed at Neil's Gap for 10 days, and waited out an ice storm, and did this, did that, and the other stuff, and um, it's it's like, it's just been so much fun. Like, I would say the one thing I always wanted to keep while doing this was the spirit of adventure, just like the movie Up, the spirit of adventure, and because it's like, I don't want to plan out every step that I'm gonna take, because I would say if I did that, I mean, I would be so far off course. If I had like a budget and like this, that, and the other stuff, and it's like, you know, like the amount of awesome people that I've met on trail, and also like getting off the trail a little bit now too. It's like, you know, and like last night, they made an amazing chicken dinner with mac and cheese and corn, and they had two of their friends come over, and we just did, it was just really nice. It was like, you just have a little, a nice Sunday meal. I mean, wasn't anything too crazy, and I mean, but it was delicious. I mean, it was like, they got leftovers in the fridge for me, and they're like, yeah, eat whatever you want here. It's like, whatever. Like, just open the doors, and I mean, I'm really just so blessed to have met them, and you know, uh, for them to, I mean, they took me to Walmart, so I already resupplied, so, I can get back on the trail, and I think that, she said that she dropped me back off, and it's like, wow, and, um, I wasn't even asked, I wasn't, I kind of just said in our conversation, I'm looking for a place to stay, and, she took, I mean, I wasn't, hey, can I stay with you? Like, it was, yeah, like, this is my situation, I'm just, I'm just here at church, and um, it's like no hesitation answered the call, and it's just like, oh, you're staying with us. Like, you don't gotta look for no, you don't have to look for nothing. We got you. It's like, wow, like it. Uh, God is good, and we and they say the rosary every night, and I was like, so I said the rosary for the first time in a long time, and that that was great, and um, it's like you just see the, I don't know, I like you just God will put who God will get, God is good, like He has your back. And even though you don't, because I mean, when I was, thinking about, I'm like, all right, do I got to walk 3 hours to get to the 12 o'clock Spanish Mass? And the answer is no. You don't speak Spanish, why would you go to the Spanish Mass? Like, because I guess their priest is was Cuban or something, so he speaks, Spanish. And, but, it's just, it's just such a whirlwind sometimes, because it's like, all right, I gotta get food, I gotta prepare, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, blah 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 blah, and it's like, you always think about the stuff that you have to do, but you don't realize that God is also doing stuff for you as well behind the scenes that you can't see, setting things up for you, getting people in the right position, and making you sit in a spot for 10 days so that you can meet, this one particular person that needed to talk to you or needed some time with the dog, or, you know, um, whatever the case is, it's, it's, like you can ask God to do stuff for you. It's like, hey, I need help, can you please help me? And it's like, yeah, I'm already on it, man. You don't even know. Like, this was, this whole experience is gonna be very, I think, and I'm kind of rambling, but like the biggest thing I think that I'm starting to really get into the habit of is just trusting in God. Like, trusting that, okay, you can't see what the plan is. Alright? You can try to put your own ideas into God's plan, and God's just gonna look at you like, alright, that's not a good idea. Like, what are you talking about? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? It's like all this stuff. And, it's, it's like, you make plans and God just laughs at you, and it's like, alright, great plan, take it, chuck it out, and here's my plan, do you trust me enough to see it to the end? And it's like, and that's a lot. I mean, it's tough because it's like, you know, um, you get in the habit of I need to do everything, and it's like I need to do this, I need to do that. Me. I'm the one that has to do it. And then when you have God do stuff for you, like putting these people exactly where you want to be, it's like all your needs are met and then some. And then you have, he puts you on this detour. It's like, you're walking down the road and you see something and he's like, oh, detour, but it's a 10-day detour. Or, yeah, I put you here so that this person can meet you so that you can be friends. And, you know, um, like all of this stuff is just like, I mean, what an experience, it's like to see God in motion, and you're like, oh no, it's just a coincidence. Oh, it's just a coincidence. And it's like, look, my guy, how many coincidences does it take for you not to believe, or for you to believe that it's not a coincidence? Is it 20? Is it 30 times that, oh, it just so happened to be like this? Oh, it just so happened to be perfect? Oh, it just so happened, it's like, and like, yeah, the girl is, she's like, I love this bed. This is like the best bed ever. It is. This is like a top tier bed. This is even better than the one at the hotel. And but anyway, it's like, to deny that God, the creator of this universe, can do stuff for you is very ignorant. It's like, you don't think that God is in control of your life. You know, He gave you your life. It's like, yes, you have free will, and you can choose to turn away from God, and not acknowledge His presence in your life, and He gives you that freedom. But to do that would be very ignorant of you actually looking around and seeing what's going on. And a lot of people have the put the blinders on, and it's just about me and my needs and my family's needs and the people that I love. And it's like, yeah, but what happens if you love God, and you put your faith in God? That's like, all right, you know can you help me? I'm praying to you. It's like, hey, can something change in my situation? And the answer is yeah. You invite God into your life, and everything that's not supposed to be in there gets pushed out. Friends, jobs, this, that, and the other stuff. It's like, you know, you, God's really big. You got the all-powerful God. He's like, yeah, you got to make room for me. It's like, I'm not going to compete. And once you kind of clear that space for him, I mean, he rushes in. And it's like, to anyone that's never experienced that, it's like, it's really overpowering sometimes. It's like, wow. It's like, damn, I just prayed for that, and look, here it is in front of my face, like in my face. I'm staring at it with these two eyeballs. What I said inside my little mind thing up to this quote unquote invisible God, and it's like, um, you know, it's happening in front of my face, right? Some people call it, oh, it's just a coincidence, and it's like, all right, maybe once or twice, but it happens like 50 times, or 20 times. You're praying for stuff, and it's like, you just mark it down in your book. Oh, another coincidence. Check. Prayed for this. It happened. Check. Uh, so like, this is just a testament to that whole experience. I was just going to church. I mean, I had no intentions of trying to, beg people to stay with them or anything like that. I mean, I just said it in kind of like a passing of, oh yeah, I'm just looking for a place to stay. And that lady just like, heard that and saw the dog, and was just like, you know saw my pack, and she's like, all right, you're staying with us, you don't gotta look nowhere, we got you, you know I got you. And it's like, well, thank you. Like, it's just it's just awesome. Like, I just think back, and it's just like, man, you know, God sends you the people that you need. He gives you what you need. And sometimes, it's gonna be like, all right, you need to suffer a little bit. You need to, get out of your comfort zone, and, go up on a mountain and start praying, and, go be tired a little bit. Go be a little hungry. You know, don't be, go pray a little bit. Do a little fasting. And, like once, like, because again, people, I think people are afraid of suffering. And, I think, so, I mean, look, we don't know the reason for everything. I mean, only God does. But it's like, not to say that I've suffered. I mean, suffered in my own ways. Stuff has been difficult throughout my life, but that's everybody's. I think suffering creates growth, You know, it's like in that process, it's like, putting metal in a fire. It's like, all right, yeah, it's gonna get a little hot. Stuff's gonna start happening, but I'm forging you to make you into something better. And um, I think like one of the quotes is like, suffering produces faith. And it's like, faith that, all right, it's hot right now, but there will be a time for me to cool off, then takes you out of the fire, puts you into that nice water, and all right, now we're good. Okay, time to get back in the fire a little bit. And, in that forging process, it's like, you start shaping your ideas, and, um, you know, shaping what you think's possible. Taking this clump of metal and turn it into, a sword or this or that, and God's working on us, working on our souls, man. And it's like to actively see that process happening, and even to be able to perceive it. It's like, okay, it's like all right, do I even know what's going on? Can I even identify, you know, that process? And I think with practice, it's like, yeah, you just start equating it to God. It's like, oh, okay, yep, that's the man up there. He's in control. He's making all this happen. And yeah, it's just super blessed, and it's like I'm just so thankful, and I just keep thanking God. It's like, just thank you. Just just throw up some thanks. God's like, yeah, you're welcome. I got your back. You don't gotta worry about nothing. Shouldn't have any anxiety on your situation. And it's like, no matter what happens, I'm in control. Don't worry about it. And so yeah, that's just kind of like my church rant. We got picked up by this awesome couple, and I mean they're hosting me, and I think we might go see their dogs, and they got like 5 dogs or something. So Sadie will go run their dogs for a little while, and I know she'll have a good time. And yeah, she's just cuddling with me right now. She's like, oh, this is like the best, Dad. This is like the best around. She's like, oh, it's belly time. Is it belly time? Like, even this dog, man, I'm just so blessed to have this dog. Like, she's just so awesome. And I mean, like, what a creature. It's like, I just, sometimes I just get caught, like, staring. It's like, man, look at this. You get up close and personal with this animal. It's like, you know, to say that, like, something even like this dog, is like, oh yeah, just, world was just a bunch of random stuff off this Big Bang or something. It's like, bro, like, if you take all the mega nukes in the entire world and blow them up at the same time, is it going to create a dog? Is it going to create? I mean, I think one of the funniest comparisons that I've ever heard was, it's easier to make a Rolex watch than a human being. So it'd be like, all right, can you create a Rolex watch by blowing up all the shit at one time, and it's just magically going to put itself together? All right. Let's talk about intelligent design. There has to be some kind of creator aspect to this. And it's like, for people, it's like, oh no, we're just a bunch of random cells that just so happen to perfectly co-align and create a sentient being and all this. Like, get out of here, bro. Like, it takes more faith to not believe in a creator than it does to believe that there's an intelligent design behind this experience. Like, even looking up in the mountains, like, you're looking at all these trees and the mountains and this and that. I'm like, there's no way that this was all just some random stuff. Like, there's 0% chance in my mind that this is all just random. Like, I think I don't think anything is random. I mean, I think there is maybe some aspect of, you know, free will slash choice that, is like the X factor in the game, but, you know, like, just what a beautiful creature, honestly. Like, I see her, and, she's just, like, she really can do it all. Just like the best dog in the entire world. Like, super smart, super loyal, can play fetch, um, just, just a lover, will protect you, would lay down her life if there was somebody trying to attack me. It's like, I got your back. So, anyway, that's just like my morning.